This episode of the podcast is brought to you by HRH Combat Arms. They can turn your vision into reality. They specialize in gunsmithing and Cerakoting. Your Cerakote specialist is Air Force veteran and retired police sergeant Paul Ware, a.k.a. the Sarge. He can Cerakote your firearms, auto parts, tools, even your sports equipment. And then your master gunsmith is Marine veteran Steve Miller. This veteran-owned business is located at 5025 Saunders Suite, 103, Fort Worth, Texas, 76119. You can call them at 682-304-0363, and you can find them online at www.hrhcombatarms.com. That's www.hrhcombatarms.com. All right, Two Cops, One Donut. I'm your host, Eric Levine. We're back. We had a little hiatus. We had sickness. We had renovations going on in my kitchen. My oldest dog died, 15 years old. He was our family dog. And so Hobson was his name. He was a 15-year-old German short-hair pointer. So I'm just going to give his memory a little honor right now. Miss him already, but today, we went and picked up a new Doberman for my oldest now dog, which is Kylo. He's about a year and a half. You met Kylo at the door. He's a little intimidating.
Yes, very.
He's a big dog. And the female we got, she's 6 months. She's going to be a small dog, like for a Doberman. So she's, for 6 months, she's still kind of, you saw her, she's tiny. And Kylo at 6 months was almost as big as what he is right now. So he's a big dog. But I have a special guest with me today. I had a big push from our audience members. I asked topics like, what do you guys want me to talk about? PTSD was a big one. Physical fitness, mental health, things of that nature. And then the other real big one was spouses. They wanted some sort of spouse perspective. Some said they wanted to widowed spouses. Some said they want just a spouse that their significant other just went through the academy and what the adjustment period is like. And some wanted, somebody kind of like my wife that's been a spouse of Elio for a long time. Well, I thought I hit all of it when I asked if you could be on. So, and we're friends. We've talked. We met in, I think, 2015 or 2016 by chance. It wasn't, we didn't know each other. We didn't know we were going to see each other. We kind of met at a memorial ride, the Texas Peace Officer Memorial Ride.
Yes.
And we met there. And her name's Karen Freeto. And if you'd like, you can introduce yourself, ma'am. Tell us how you got in the game of law enforcement.
Okay. My name's Karen Freeto Rutherford now. I was married to Dwayne Freeto when he joined the academy. We met when I was in high school. We got married when I was 19. He joined the Army before we were married. He got in the Army because we broke up. And then he went into the military. He went to Army.
So how did you guys meet?
We met in high school through mutual friends at a party.
Okay, so did you guys go to the same high school?
No, he was 4 years older than me. We were illegal.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah, so I was 16 and he was 20.
So you guys broke up. You met at a party. That's how you got together.
So I got together.
And then you...
About when I was 18. We stayed together for a few years, and about 18, we broke up, and he joined the military, went into the Army. And then while he was in basic training, we got married.
Oh, okay. He wanted that bump in pay. That's what it was.
I was like, no, don't leave me.
You were like, I got to have him. So, okay. So what was his job in the Army?
He was infantry.
Infantry? Yeah. Oh, so he was dumb. Sorry, I'm Air Force, so I got to make the jokes. All right. So first off, that's a unique perspective. A lot of people, my wife, she had a hard time. Like, when I left, because we'd been together for a long time, all through high school, basically. And for me to leave and be gone for 8 weeks, because Air Force boot camp isn't that long, but 8 weeks is a long time to be separated. And that we didn't have the internet like we have the internet now and all that stuff. So we were still sending letters and shining boots and stuff like that. So it's rough. It's rough, especially the younger you are. So I went in at 23 or 24, so it wasn't as bad because I had to work and do stuff like that. So we learned that separation period. But for you, you went straight from high school?
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. I graduated at 17, so I turned 18 that summer.
Smarty pants.
And so I don't remember the timeline now, but he went into the military, and then we got married on January 1st, 1996. So,
okay, for tax purposes.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know how this is supposed to work. If we get married on December 20th, what's that going to do? We're going to be married for like a week or something, but what does that do to tax? I didn't know.
Yeah.
Let's just do January 1st.
That's
and then
funny.
the whole world will celebrate with us.
That's what me and my wife did.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're January 1st?
So we got married on December 31st.
Okay.
But the reception went into the new year.
Okay.
So we celebrated New Year's for our reception.
Okay.
So yeah, same type of thing.
Those were cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yes.
We were gone. We already left the reception, but it got shut down by the fire department because we did it in our hometown and so many people showed up. And it's funny because still to this day, people tell us like, you guys had the best reception because everybody from town we told them like, just show up. Who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. So we had a good time. But yeah, so you get married and
he had to finish basic training. So when he was in Fort Benning, and then he was his first station was South Korea. So he went straight to South Korea.
Oh, you didn't get to go, did you?
I went the last 6 months.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
So that was pretty cool. I was 19. Well, I guess I was 20 by the time I went. I was 20. And over there, the drinking age is 20. So I'm like, yeah.
Right? Oh, yeah.
So I went over there, got to be able to, I guess I was married to someone who's older than 21. So I guess I could have drank anyway, but
didn't matter. Yeah.
But anyway, that was fun. So we went over there and I would say, South Korea was a very eye-opening for a 20-year-old, so it's, we had to live off base because he was enlisted. So we couldn't live on base with the lieutenants and everything. So we lived on the economy is what they called it. And got to meet other, Army wives and stuff like that. So it was okay. I would say I was more afraid of soldiers than I was of the Korean people.
Really?
Yeah, because I knew that a lot of soldiers over there, they don't have their women over there. And I was like, I don't know, we'll walk on dark alley somewhere.
Oh, jeez.
But I was there for 6 months, and I enjoyed it. It was very culturally eye opening, and
yeah, you learned to love America a lot more.
Yes,
type thing.
I did, sure did. I came home, and when we were over there, I got pregnant with Jordan, and so I always tease her. When she was 8. She's 23 now, but when she was younger, I said, when you turn 18, you can get a tattoo. It says "Made in Korea."
That's awesome. So you got pregnant in Korea. You had her over here, so she didn't get the dual citizenship.
No,
unfortunately,
she was born on Fort Hood on Veterans Day.
No shit. Nice. Okay.
Yep.
So you had how long was his enlistment?
He was only in for 4 years because he was deployed every 6 to 9 months. So he said, I'm out of this.
Okay.
So he was only in for 4 years.
I gotcha. All right. So he did that. Now, as a spouse, your support system's gone because you're with him, and neither of you have family around now. So you guys got to lean on each other a lot more than normal, right?
Yes.
And it causes a lot of arguments at first. It did with us.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because there's a lot of growing. Like you've had a way of living, and maybe you live together a little bit, but it doesn't sound like you guys live together long enough to hatch out, like to get in that comfortable zone.
Yeah. Everything was still new.
Yeah. And so you're
learning each other. Yeah,
you learn each other. And man, I could tell you, me and my wife's arguments, like when we first started doing stuff like that, was just out of control. Cause I'm the avoidance type. Like, I don't want to argue. Like, I'm done. Just stop talking to me. I don't want to talk anymore. So that's she wants to. It has to be hashed out before we go to bed. So I don't know how y'all did yours, but I know for a fact when we first started out living like that and being away from everybody, I think you develop more of a rich relationship because you have to depend on each other way more than you ever did when your family's around, because the family can be the scapegoat. You know what I mean? So So for you went to another country.
I did. First flight ever. Went to Korea.
That was your first
Yes.
flight. Oh my God, country girl. Where were you? Where were you guys out of?
I was born in Waco. Born and raised in Waco.
Oh, what religious places did you go to as a child?
I wasn't really religious at all.
Okay.
So.
Well, I just wondered if you were friends with some guy named David at all.
Oh, no. I remember I was in high school and all that happened. I was sitting in algebra class whenever.
Really?
And it all
What
went
was
down.
that like?
That's crazy. I went outside to see if I could see him smoke anywhere.
Oh, man. Did you guys know anything about that compound prior to that?
I didn't. Well, I mean, high school. I don't watch the news, but.
Yeah, we usually, high school kids got their ear to the ground a little bit more like than most people.
No, I didn't know. It was all news to me. And I was like, this crazy.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay, so you're out of Waco, which Waco's blown up now.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't ever want to go back though.
No?
It's not what the Hollywood shows it to be. It's not.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I heard that they got some homemaking couple, they builder or whatever, and like that's the big draw out there now.
Apparently, they've increased the property values out there.
Oh, is that what's going on?
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I got out as fast as I could. That went South Korea.
Yeah. All right, so you get out there, and what was it? What was it like for you while he's at work?
I was okay. I stayed at home for a while, or in our little tiny apartment. Probably, I don't know, probably as big as this room, really.
Yeah, it's not a big room, is it?
It was pretty small. I mean, everything was one room, and then you had a bathroom. So it was a living room, kitchen, bedroom, all was one room, and then you had a bathroom. That was also a shower. The toilet was in the shower.
Oh,
so it was all one.
Was it in the floor?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
No. It was a toilet.
It was an actual toilet.
You just sat next to the shower.
Oh, okay.
So it was weird.
At least you can wash off.
Yeah.
A lot easier, I guess.
Yeah.
You don't need a bidet necessarily.
No, but there was a place on post that you could go to that I went. You can actually have an oven. We didn't have ovens. We just had stovetops, like burners. So I would go on base to cook, meals in an oven and then take it home at night and things like that.
Okay.
Wash clothes on base. Had to carry that everywhere. Grocery shopping on base. So that was all normal. I'd go in there and then just come home at night.
Okay.
Evenings.
So did it cause any tension or anything for you between Dwayne and you, because he's off having fun working. That's the way my wife looked at it all the time. Like, you're out with your friends at work. And I'm like, don't get me wrong. I'm the type of person, I'll have a good time no matter what I'm doing. But I would rather be at home. I don't want to be out there, Like when I was in the military, I'd be gone for 5 days at a time. So in a sense, I was on a deployment for half the year because 5 days I'm out and 5 days I'm back. So for those 5 days, though, I'm away. Like I'm sleeping in this, they called it a missile alert facility, a MAF. And you're with your flight, like guarding nukes out in the middle of the prairie. So in Montana, it sucked. But, so I'm gone half the year too. So that would be the cause of some of our tension is like, you're out having fun and I'm here by myself. And the thing that helped us was she got a job because it was able to occupy her mind. She wasn't just sitting in the house going nuts. So for you, I was wondering if...
No, it's a little different for me. I grew up as a child. I grew up with a mother who was very dependent on a man. Oh, and I was like, that is not going to be me.
Yeah.
So no, I took care of myself. I was a big girl. I don't know. I did what I needed to do, whatever I wanted to do.
Yeah. My wife, I think she's had the mindset that she would never need my money. Mm-hmm. Like that's been her mindset. Like no matter what happens, I will be able to handle myself. So I think that decision, that switch really flipped faster though because of joining the military.
Okay.
You know what I mean? For her.
Yeah.
But so you got out there and you was handling business. Now, what advice do you have for any spouses that maybe they're getting together, they're new couples, and they're going to be joining the military?
Oh my goodness. I don't know.
Come on. You're the educator here. People want to hear your perspective.
I was 20 back then.
Yeah, but there's a lot of young people out there right now. Help them save mistakes that you saw along the way. It doesn't have to be mistakes that you made. Maybe you guys just hit it on the head, but
I don't know. I don't remember a lot of struggles back then. I know I gave him his, I would say space, but I mean, I didn't see it that way. I just thought,
Right.
go to work. Okay, I'll be here. And I didn't mind it. When I could work, I did work because I didn't want to be the mooching wife, I guess you could say. So
Okay, I see what you're saying.
I wanted to. I didn't need to work, but I wanted to work to get myself out of the house.
Yeah.
Things like that. So I did. I went to work when he came back home. We moved to Fort Hood, and I started working there at different places. I didn't have any. I'm a high school graduate. I don't have any other degree of any kind. I didn't go to college or anything. So I just, whatever job I could get, I got for a little while and just did that. And it was okay. I mean, I guess I just understood what his role was, and he was going to be gone 6 months here, 9 months here, and could come home for 4. He was here for the birth of Jordan, but he missed her first birthday. So we had a 9-month birthday. So he,
okay. So you just adjusted.
Yeah. So
all right.
I mean, I guess if anything, just know that your everyday civilian life that you used to, I guess, or you could call it that. The birthdays, the holidays, they're not going to be like they were when you were a kid. You're not going to see your family every single Christmas. You're not going to see them every single birthday. So I understood that, and I was okay with that.
And I try to tell people that are getting in that line of work, like, I understand that it's something you want to do, but if your spouse, if you're already married and you're just locked into it, if they don't understand that side of it, then you need to have a serious discussion about your career path.
That's true. That's very true.
Because if she's not on board, it is not going to work out. And you've seen a million officers' relationships fail because that's the mindset. The officer, they know they want to do this, but the spouse, they have no clue of that side of the life. And you're right. If he works midnights, well, guess what? You're going to have to adjust on celebrating, a birthday, 6 o'clock at night or something a little different instead of celebrating it, 10, 11, 12 in the afternoon, because he's still going to be asleep.
Yep. So,
or she. I mean, this works both ways. Female, I honestly think female officers have it worse.
Why do you think that?
Even male husbands, spouses that are on board at first, I don't quite think they understand the full picture, and guys have egos. So now you've got a female officer who's an alpha for the most part, tends to be the personality type, out working with a bunch of men, and female officers probably get hit on 10 times more than male officers do.
So?
Oh my God. Every female officer I've worked with, this is a for real. This happened maybe 6 months ago. I'm on a call. We had just done a felony stop on a stolen vehicle in a parking lot of a like a corner store type thing. We just got him out, got him cuffed. I mean, the scene just calmed down. And all of a sudden, this guy was walking right through us, right between all of us, guys on the ground. He's like, damn. He's like, I'm sorry. He's like, y'all arrest me if you have to, but I had to check out this thickness over here. She looking damn fine. I'm like, I'm looking at my, coworker, and she looks over and she's like, is he talking about me? I was like, well, he ain't talking about me. And I mean, right through the middle, we just finished that. He had to have seen us have our guns out at the time, and he waited. And then as soon as we put him up, he comes through. He's like, I had to get a closer look. It's worth the cuffs. He's like, oh.
Well, you know what? Girls like guys that are, I won't say in control, that are
in
uniform. In uniform,
yeah.
And to have that
authority
type. Yeah. I guess some guys like it too.
Hey, whatever turns you on, I guess. But yeah, I'm telling you, and every time, 'cause I've worked with a lot of female officers, I tend to prefer it because I think it's a good yin and yang. If I can't talk someone down, female perspective can get it done. If she can't talk them down, then I can probably usually get it done. So verbal skills are like 100 times better when you have a guy-girl combo. Because if I don't have to go hands-on, I don't want to go hands-on. I hate fighting people. I always lose. So, yeah. But to get to the point, yeah, it's for female officers, I do. I think they have it. I think they have it worse when it comes to that. I could be wrong. Females, feel free to jump on the feed and let me know that, no, you're fucking wrong, whatever. But no, and I've talked to several females that it's cost them relationship after relationship after relationship. They just can't. somehow the ego gets into it and they can't hang and they can't handle, because you know how officers, God, we text each other all day, chat all day long. Like, oh my God, you hear about such and such? He arrested this dude. He just did that. He did this, if you have a good team anyway. So, okay. So I don't want to get down another rabbit hole. So you did the 4 years. You guys came back. You had your first child, Jordan.
Yes.
She's a sweetheart.
Yes.
And she graduated, right?
Yep.
She's a Aggie, right?
She's an Aggie. Yeah, she's actually going to St. Augustine now out of Irving for physical therapy school.
Oh, okay.
She's still in school.
Is that with her degree? So her degree was what?
Kinesiology.
Okay. So that's sports medicine type stuff, right?
She said basically all she could do was become a coach, and she said didn't want to be a coach. So she wants to continue to be a physical therapist. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she needs to get some forearm strength or something.
Yeah.
Little.
I know. Like, how are you going to pick up these people and put them in a wheelchair?
Right.
Or get them out of their wheelchair?
All right. So you come back, and he decides after the military, police life.
No, not yet.
Not yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
No, he used his GI Bill to go to school to get a degree in IT. So he went and he
Nerd.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know he was so nerdy. Okay.
So he did that, got his degree, went to TSTC out of Waco, and then when he started working with me. Actually, we worked together for about a year, and that's when he realized he didn't want to do that anymore.
Oh, you guys worked at the same place.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I love my wife. I love her, but I don't want to work with her.
Yeah.
You got to have some break.
Yeah.
So what was that like? What was it a problem for you, or was it a problem for him? Was it?
No, not really. I mean, it was good in the fact that we could carpool.
Right.
Yeah. But that was good. I don't know. I don't remember having issues. I mean, Dwayne and I's relationship was very, I don't know.
Relaxed.
Yeah. He was very easygoing. He'd never argue with me. I came from a family of arguing all day long, all night long. Yeah. And he came from a very stable home of two parents that are still together. I'm from a broken home 18 times over.
Yeah.
And his parents are still together. Both of them are ministers for the Methodist Church. And so a very, very stable home. So he's not very argumentative, and I am. Okay. And so when I'd argue, he would just kind of be like, okay. So,
argue back.
Yeah, and that's what I was like, come on, defend yourself.
Yeah, right.
So we didn't have a lot of problems. I guess if anything, my biggest problem was I felt like sometimes I felt like he didn't care because he would never argue with me. But other than that, I mean, it was pretty chill.
Okay. All right.
Easy going.
So what was the job? What did you guys do?
I was in medical billing, and he was the IT guy in the billing department.
Okay.
So helped with that kind of stuff.
I never really met Dwayne, so I learned something new every time I talk to you or talk to Jordan. So I didn't realize he was such a nerd. So that's fun.
Yeah, he graduated from Brock, second in his class.
Okay. Yeah, but there was probably 3 people in his class.
Yeah, I think there was like 13 or something like that. Yeah, something really small.
I just heard of Brock recently because there's a ton of officers moving out there.
Yeah.
And if y'all don't know about Texas high school football, y'all are crazy. They love it. And Brock, this city it's a cow town. There's maybe one traffic light type of thing, and all of a sudden people are flooding it because the high school team did so well in high school football.
He was in the basketball team.
Was he?
I don't know, they had football back then. It was probably too small.
Yeah, you're probably right. But now they won like the state championship, and you win the state championship and all, it just makes your whole city blow up apparently. So the cost to move out there, and because I want a barn dominium. Yeah. I want that so bad.
Go get one.
We gotta wait. Once the kids are out of high school and into college.
Why?
Because we just refinanced on the house and we're upgrading, doing a bunch of stuff to the house. So
okay.
Yeah. So we'll make this what we like until they get done, and then we'll move.
Okay.
So that's the goal. But we don't know where to go yet. So
yeah, that's okay.
All right. So he takes a year hiatus to do school to be an IT nerd. Mm-hmm. And does he go get a dream job doing IT stuff?
Not really.
No?
Just went where he could find a job, and that was where I worked.
Okay.
So yeah, he worked there for about a year, and that's when he said, I'm going to go into the academy, and he looked at it several different places. He looked at DPS, but he saw that they go straight to the border.
Yeah.
we didn't want to do that. So I'm like going to border.
Yeah, and that's kind of the problem with the state police. You can go anywhere. Like they can put you anywhere in that state. Yeah. So
he decided on Fort Worth.
Okay. Was that the only department he had put in for?
Yes.
Oh, damn. He got right in.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So how long was that process?
Oh man, several months.
Okay.
Several months.
So what was the conversation like about doing police work? Because if I tell my wife that I'm looking to do IT stuff and then I flip it and tell him I want to go do life threatening stuff again, what was your mindset on that?
I knew when I met him in high school. He went to MCC, McLennan Community College in Waco. He was going for criminal justice, so I knew that was what he always wanted to do.
Okay, so he had a criminal justice background already.
Yes. And so when he said that, I was like, well, yeah, okay, that's fine with me. To me, not today, I wouldn't say this, but back then, it was safer than the military.
Yeah.
And so I thought, you know what? I did the military, I can do this.
Yeah.
So I was okay with it. I mean, of course, you know the dangers, whatever. And we even talked to Jordan and said, this is a dangerous job. And she's like, well, I don't want him to become a police officer if it's dangerous. And, hindsight, shouldn't have said that, but.
Oh, yeah.
But,
yeah.
I supported him.
Okay. Yeah. I was just curious if that was, because we just talked about, if you're going to do that type of job. And I could imagine, hey, I know I said I want to do this IT stuff. Now I want to go be a cop. Yeah. That's a 180.
No, I mean, it was fine. Through the academy, when he was in the academy, Hank died.
But yeah.
That's when we had the serious talk.
Oh, okay.
He came home. He's like, "Do you want me to get out of this?" And I was like, "I said, no, I don't want you to get. And if you get out and you become a janitor or whatever you're gonna be, I don't want you yelling at me because you're making $10 an hour and I'm the one that told you to get out." I said, "No, that this is your dream. This is what you want to do. You go do it." And I said, when was the last time an officer was killed? And it was in 93, I think, at that time.
Okay.
And so I was like, you got a good, 10 years, 15 years, whatever it was, however the time span was. And I was like, you can become chief. You can do whatever you want. And so those are my words. That's what I said. Yeah. I said, the odds are it's not going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. Statistically.
Yeah.
Okay. So go through the academy. You guys had the talk, which is good. So anybody out there that's your significant other, whatever, you guys are talking about this career field. You got to talk about it. You got to have the real discussion. Yeah. Talk to a friend or just talk to your recruiter and have them get you in touch with a couple that you can ask those marital questions. We were lucky at the academy I went to in the DFW area. I try to avoid the relating the show with where I work type thing. So there's no, they don't get mad if I say something on here that they don't approve. So, but anyway, in the academy that I went through, they actually had a couples or family day where they can come in and ask those types of questions.
That's good. And
they let them know. I don't know if they did that when Dwayne was going through his academy, but they give him a heads up. Like, this is what you need to be on board for. Like, for the next 7-8 months, he's going to be studying his ass off. So you need to give him time to study. You're basically, as the spouse, going to be taking care of the family if you got a family at home, because he's going to be eat, sleep, go to work, come back home, study, sleep, get back, and just rinse, repeat. Mm-hmm. So if you are considering this career field, those are things that you have to have a serious discussion about and be willing to do that type of thing and understand the risks. That there is a real possibility that
that's a good idea. We didn't have that, and
I think they still do that to this day. And if there's any academy instructors out there, like, I would seriously talk about adding that to your hiring process, because once they get hired and they have the academy date, before you waste a whole bunch more money on them, you got to make sure that these spouses, significant others, whatever you want to call them, they got to know, and they got to have a realistic view on what to expect, real expectations. So, all right. So he gets in the academy, goes through, what year was that?
2005.
So 2005. Okay. So the year before I joined the military. So, how old was Dwayne at the time? ish?
Probably 32.
32. Okay, so he joined. Not, I don't want to say real late, but like middle of the ground.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people join up, 24, 25. You do get some of the youngins in there that are just 20, turning 21 while they're in the academy. And then every once in a while you get those guys that are like on the end, 44, 45 years old. Our cutoff is 45.
Okay.
I think at the time it was 42 when I went through the academy. So Papa Rudd is one of the guys that we had in the academy class. But okay, so goes through in 05, 06. Did he graduate in 05 as well?
He graduated in March of 06.
Okay, so 06, and then he gets cut loose. Now he's a patrol officer, right?
Yeah.
And what are you doing?
I'm just still working and
Okay.
my job. And at that time, yeah, we had Jenna. So she was born in 03. So we had Jenna with it, and I was taking care of them. He was working all kinds of shifts because he was in training. So he had to train on every shift. So every 6 weeks or 8 weeks, whatever it was, 4 weeks, he had to switch different shifts and work with different FTOs and stuff like that. So, I don't remember any of that being a problem though.
No,
no, I don't.
Okay, that's good. I mean, and the thing that's good to know, but from your perspective, and correct me if I'm wrong, the thing that's cool about that though is you accepted it.
Yeah.
Like you already had it in your mind, like this is how it's going to be for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like when a smoker decides to quit.
Yeah.
Like they have to make that decision. Like Dwayne couldn't make that for you. You had to be on board. If you didn't, there's going to be tension.
Yeah.
So you had already made up your mind. Like that's cool. And my wife was the same way. Like I'd known I was going to be a cop. The military thing was not something we had discussed. So that took some. I basically said, because she didn't want me to, and I said, I need you to trust me. I have a plan. And she's like, all right. She accepted it, and that's how we got through it. Because I told her, I was like, I'm going to get in. I'm going to do my 4 years. I'm going to get my degree. I'm going to get out, and I'm going to be a cop. I was like, so I will have all that lined up.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, the military will keep me focused, and I'll be doing that. I was a cop in the Air Force. So I was like, I'll already have on-the-job training. I'll have a head start. And then I said, as a military vet, I'll be able to be more hireable. So that's what I did. I stuck to it. I did exactly what I told her I was going to do, and now here we are.
She trusted you.
She did, and now I'm supporting her dream. She's trying to become a nurse.
Good.
Yeah, she got a year left. It's going by fast.
Good for her.
She's crazy smart.
I couldn't be a nurse.
No, me either. It's disgusting.
Yes.
Yeah, I ain't touching people. No, that's gross. I don't deal with spit, blood, puke, poop.
I can't deal with needles. I don't want to give a shot. I don't want to get a shot.
Yeah, I don't want to get one. I could probably give people shots. That wouldn't bother me, but getting a shot, yeah, I'm not a big fan. So I managed to get a tattoo though.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, you got a tattoo?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you got?
Well, I'm not going to show you because I'm having it removed, or I used to. When I was 18, I got a little teddy bear. It said K and D for Karen and Dwayne.
Okay.
So I had that one. And then when he passed away, I added his badge number and Fort Worth PD on that. And so after about I guess 2 or 3 years after he was killed, I wanted a different one, but I didn't want to have two. I want to have a different memorial tattoo. So I'll just erase it and I'll just do it again somewhere else.
Okay.
I never did. I went back and did it. So now it's just looks like a bruise because they didn't finish it.
Oh, so you did get it partially removed.
Partially removed. Yeah.
How does that feel?
It hurts. It's like getting a tattoo again, but you got to do it over and over every 6 weeks because it just breaks up the ink.
Oh.
So I went,
it's lasers, right?
Yeah. So I just need to find a better laser, I guess, and different company to get it finished out.
Ouch. Okay.
I need to get a new one.
All right. So he's in 06. So he moves up. So take us through his incident.
Okay. So yeah, he graduated in March of 06 and he went through his FTO phase, and then he was on midnights. And I dealt with that okay. Sleeping during the day. I mean, I worked during the day anyway, and I'd come home. He would pick the kids up from school, and then I would come home and do dinner, and he would leave. So that was that. And I was okay with all of that. I think the military prepared me for that, for him, not being home all the time. So that was okay. And I think it was the 1 year anniversary of Hank Nova, and saw Teresa on the news, and I was like, man, it's gotta be hard to drop before Christmas. Oh my goodness. And I looked at Dwayne and I said, do you think we need to celebrate Christmas before Christmas just in case? And I don't know where that thought came from. I have no idea. Why would I even say that? Why would I even tell him that?
Yeah.
And he's like, no. I'll be fine. And so he didn't. And then on December 17th, he was helping. He was helping a lady with a flat tire. She had a flat tire, and her wheel locks. She didn't have her key to her wheel locks.
Okay.
And so they had to call a tow truck. And while they were waiting for the tow truck to show up, I guess they can get wheels off. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so so they were waiting. Is when he I guess her friend came to help too, because she called her friend. So he parked in front of her, and Dwayne was parked behind her. And while they were all waiting, is when the drunk driver hit him. He was going 97 miles an hour.
Dang.
Hit him so hard that he hit the lady he was helping at 30 miles an hour.
Wow.
Yeah. And then she hit her friend's car.
So through Dwayne's car, his patrol car, through the middle car, and then to the car that was disabled. Okay. So I'm sorry.
Yeah. So the drunk hit Dwayne. Dwayne hit the lady he was helping, and then she hit her friend's car.
Her friend's car that was in the front. Okay. Yeah. Any injuries to them?
Not from the accident, I don't believe. No. Of course, as soon as the impact hit, Dwayne's car exploded, and the other car, and then the drunk driver's car, his car was on fire as well. He was thrown from his vehicle, and then an off-duty officer had witnessed the accident or drove up on it like soon thereafter, and saw him in the road. So he pulled him aside and could smell the alcohol in his breath. And when he got him over to the side, he talked to the lady he was helping and her friend. He's like, "Where's the officer?" And they said, "He's still in the car." And that's when everyone tried to get him out. But the fire was just way overwhelming. They tried busting the windows, and I think when they busted the window, that even brought the fire closer.
Oh, yeah.
So, but they couldn't open the doors, couldn't get him out. So
at 97 miles an hour, I would assume that there was no back end. I mean,
I got a few pictures that I have that there's no trunk, then there's no back seat really either.
Yeah,
it just looks like a hood and a front seat.
Jeez. So, how did you get notified?
I was woken up probably about 5 o'clock in the morning. I think the accident happened probably about 3 o'clock.
Okay.
In the morning, and about 5 o'clock in the morning, there was a knock on my door. I didn't think anything of it. I thought it was my neighbors, actually. So when I opened the door and I saw a few of his classmates, I still didn't think anything of it. I was just like, "Hey, what's going on?" And then I think I knew something was wrong, but I didn't immediately think he was gone.
Yeah.
So I was just like, "Hey," and then they were like, "Well, we need to talk to you." I said, "Okay, let me go get some more clothes on." So I was on a long t-shirt, so I went to go get a robe, and they were following me, and I'm like, "What are y'all doing?"
Yeah.
So I went and got my robe. I came back out, and that's when they explained to me that he was involved in an accident. And I was like, "Okay, well, what do we do now?" And they're like, he didn't make it. And then that they all started crying. I was in shock because I still didn't think that could happen. That
right.
There's no way he's dead. I didn't think that. I couldn't feel that.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't. And I was just like, "Oh, wow." And I just remember looking past them at our back door and I remember thinking he's never going to walk through that door again. But I was still in shock. Just like, what do I do now? What am I supposed to do? And I was like, well, I guess I need to tell my girls.
Yeah.
And so I went to tell them, and I had one of the female officers going with me, and told Jenna, she was 3 years old. I went to tell her she was just, I just want to go back to sleep and just leave me alone. So she went back to sleep.
Too young.
Yeah. So Jordan was 9. Went to her room to tell her, and she immediately just started crying and bawling, and what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And so she was just really, really, really just feeling it, just crying. I couldn't console her. She was just crying so hard. So I finally did. I told her, I said, we don't have to cry. We don't have to cry. We're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. And then they were like, well, where's his parents at? I was like, well, they live in Midlothian. I said, okay, well, I don't remember how that went down, but we ended up going to their house
that night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or that morning.
Right.
Yeah. So, and I was like, oh, I'll drive. And they're like, no, we'll drive you. And so, we drove to Midlothian to tell his parents. I called my sister on the way. She didn't believe me. She said, why are you telling me this in the middle of the night? Why? I was like, that's just it. It's the middle of the night. I'm not going to call you in the middle of the night and tell you this, that, this is really happening. And I need you to call everybody that I know and his friends and my family and all of our family to let everybody know that this did happen. And she said, okay. So she took care of that. And we get to his parents' house and his mom is the only one there. And another officer went to the church where his dad was preparing for it. It was a Sunday morning.
Oh, that's right.
So yeah, so another officer went there to tell his dad. So I ended up having to tell his mom because she was asking me, where is he? Where is he? I was like, well, I don't know where he is. That was like, I was thinking physical. I was like,
oh.
So I turned around. I was like, look back, and and they just kind of looked at me. All the other officers that were with me. I just said, he's not with us anymore. She just lost it too, and so that was kind of the notification how it all went down for everybody.
Okay, so it's one of those. I don't know how to explain to other spouses like how to prepare for that. I don't think anything you do can prepare you for that. But in that process, is there anything that you learned, like that you? I don't want to use it as pros and cons, but like, are there things that officers did that you were like, this helped us out? Like, if this ever happens to an officer, like, definitely try to do these types of things that really helped, and then definitely don't do these things that doesn't help. Anything like that?
No, I think through the up until through the funeral, everything was very, very well taken care of. I mean, the department did everything for us. I mean, I had a driver. My sister had a driver. His parents had a driver. His brother had a driver. Anywhere we needed to go, they were there. And so they took care of the funeral. I didn't have to do anything with the funeral. They asked me my thoughts and everything. And so I had incorporated his parents into that because it's not just me; it's his parents as well that are I think primary survivors. A lot of people think it's just the wife. I think the parents are very, very
right.
Indeed a primary survivor as well. So I got the help of his parents involved and let his dad kind of lead that since he was a minister as well. So I was like, what do you want to do? Do you want to even do this funeral? He said, no, I don't want to. I want to be able to grieve. And so I said, okay. So I let them pick the church. They picked the church in downtown Fort Worth. The police department was not really on board with that because it was small and they knew it was going to be a big funeral.
Yeah.
But they let us. They let us have it where we wanted to have it, and they had a bunch of overflow rooms, and I think the academy as well was one of them. But so just handling all that, and of course they had just a year before lost Hank, so they knew they kind of knew the routine of what needed to be done, I think, and they did the same thing. Just I got a sheet of paper that lined up my benefits and had someone in control of that. I didn't have to go seek those. I didn't have to call the state. I didn't have to call my life insurance. I didn't have to do any of that. They did that all for me.
Okay.
And they told me, when you get these checks, let me know. Put a check mark by and let me know so we know when to follow up. So they did all of that. I didn't have to do any of that stuff. And that's a relief because I was not thinking straight. I couldn't.
Right.
I had to keep getting up every morning and keep getting my kids up every morning. That's all I could think about. So them doing that was very, very good.
Okay. So for any departments out there listening, like take note. Like you should be doing as much as possible to help take any burdens that would be on the surviving spouse.
Yes, there was a department that lost an officer, and I went to go meet the spouse, and she said, I need you to help me with my benefits. I was like, what do you mean I need to help you? She's like, I don't know what to file. I was like, what do you mean? And she said, they handed me this book, a 3-inch binder, and told me these are all my benefits and I need to file for them. And I was like, are you kidding me? So I told the officer that was with her that day that we showed up with her, and I was like, your department needs to do this for her. Y'all need to look into all this stuff. And they did. They eventually did.
Okay.
But they didn't know to.
Right.
They just handed her a book, and I was like, oh my gosh.
And that's part of the reason I want to have the conversation with you is because I don't want departments out there to think that they're they're being callous and mean. If you don't know, you don't know.
Yes, and I would definitely say reach out to another department. Don't think you can handle it all yourself too. So, even if you have your binder of what you need to do, ask Arlington, ask Dallas, ask Fort Worth or whatever. Ask them what they do and see if there's a step you're missing.
Yeah.
Because definitely communication is key.
Yeah. How was the POA, basically for those listening, that's kind of our officers union. So how was the POA for you?
I don't remember. I don't remember them. I don't remember the POA. I think Dwayne was a part of the POA, but I don't remember them playing really a part in any of that. I think it was mostly the victims unit or department.
Yeah.
Did a lot of POA. I mean, throughout the years they've been there, definitely. But at the first week, I don't remember.
Okay.
If they were, I don't remember. Sorry.
Yeah, just so much going on.
Yeah.
I understand. All right. So now you've got this, you get, I'm sure it went through just faster than you could keep up. The funeral preparation, the funeral and all that stuff. Once all that was over with, what was it like initially?
Well, the funeral was on the 21st, so still before Christmas, so we still had a different Christmas to deal with.
Oh,
and so we were receiving gifts like crazy.
Yeah.
The public, which I found out now that the Russ Martin Listeners Foundation came through on that. I mean, it was every day I was getting truckfuls of Christmas presents for the girls.
Oh man.
So they loved it.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of duplicate stuff that I ended up donating. But yeah, that was hard. And then celebrating Christmas, that was really hard because we were all just like this elephant in the room. Like we're supposed to be happy, we're trying to be happy for the kids and all that, and it's just dry, so dry.
How was it for the girls, especially Jordan being older?
Jordan kind of did what I did. We both kind of went numb. Jenna just rolled with the punches. She just didn't know any different. She just like, okay, well, whatever, And then every once in a while, she would come up to me and tell me, I miss Daddy. I miss Daddy. I was like, I do too. She would see me cry and tell me to stop crying. She said, I don't want you to cry because you're going to make me cry. And I was like, okay, baby. Oh, okay, baby, I won't cry.
Yeah.
But Jordan got real dry. She got real numb. Put herself into schoolwork and just sank herself into schoolwork, and she excelled in school her whole life. Really, she's still in school.
Yeah.
So, I think she grieved by keeping herself busy, which is what I think I did as well.
Yeah, just kind of I don't want to say an intentional distraction, but you got to put your energy into something.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you get through Christmas, and how long did the support, like the constant day after day, because I know them officers didn't leave you alone for a long time. How long did that go on for?
That went on for a while. Went into the new year. I remember because I was celebrating New Year because our anniversary. So even they were still there after the New Year. They were there probably. I really don't know. Probably February maybe ish. And but for your first year, everyone wants to give you something. So there is memorial after memorial after memorial from who knows what, from the Knights of Columbus to the state to the national to anything, Blue Knights, anybody. Everybody wants to show you that your husband was a hero. Yeah. And you're going to get an award, you're going to get a plaque, you're going to get all this stuff. For the first year, it just kind of boom, 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 boom. So you're still busy. You don't realize how your life has changed yet. The day-to-day, I mean, the day-to-day, definitely, yes, but what it's going to be like when people forget or are no longer honoring, they do in their minds, they do, but it's not physically happening anymore. So the first year, you're busy. You're just busy. And then you have, of course, the 1-year anniversary. And it's the second year that's the hardest because everybody's gone back to what their normal life is. And I would say my second year, the second year for me was the hardest. At police week, though, I will say I was heavily depressed. I was suicidal, and I went to talk to a counselor. And I was telling her, I was like, I don't really care to live anymore, and I really don't want my kids to be parentless, so I'm going to take them with me. And she said, Karen, you are suicidal and homicidal. I was like, oh my gosh. And that word scared me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, you know, I wasn't, I mean, I was scared to do anything, period. I don't, you know, wasn't, my thought was we're going to go get in the car and we're going to go see daddy. We're going to sit in the garage and go see daddy. And the fear of failure scared me. And the fact that, it's why I never did it. And then I got put on medication, of course, for severe depression. And I didn't want to mess that up either. But I also didn't want to be called homicidal.
Yeah.
And that was,
so what
it was a wake up call.
So how did you make the steps to go seek help? Like what made you decide to start seeing therapy?
Family members, because I had told one of my friends that, you know, what my thoughts were, and she called Dwayne's dad.
Okay.
He called me and said, Karen, he's a minister, so he knows a lot of suicidal tendencies, I guess, because people talk to them.
Yeah.
So he said, Karen, if you're thinking about it and you have a plan, your next step is to do it. You need help. And so that's when I went to go see help. That's when I went to go to a therapist.
So you trusted him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's good. That's in our line of work. That's obviously not just for the officers, but spouses too. It's a serious issue that runs through our line of work. I don't know why that is. I'm not an expert on that, but I think we've had an officer commit suicide almost every year that I've been a cop somewhere that I've been a part of. So, I mean, it was a cop up in Michigan and a cop here, cop in the military. So, but the common factor is like nobody ever knows. Nobody saw the signs. Nobody sees anything. And whether it's them turning a blind eye or not, I can't say. I'm not in their shoes, but just the fact that you trusted somebody enough to reach out to them. Like, I think a lot of people can learn from that. We had Sergeant Bruce Anderson on here. He talked about his shooting, and he had suicidal thoughts afterwards, even though it was justified. Like, in his mind, you know, like to him, like I had no other choice, but he still went through that process. And yeah, it's. I'm glad that you can get on here and attest that the therapy helped.
Yes.
So that they helped you sort things out.
How I kind of describe all that, how I got past that was got on medication. I think the medication kind of made me numb, where I wasn't happy. I wasn't sad. I wasn't sad enough to kill myself anymore. But I knew that just going through therapy was helping me just know that, you know, there are more things in life. It wasn't until I went to Police Week in May and got involved in COPS, Concerns of Police Survivors, where there was peer support. And they separate you. They separate you by incident, and they separate you by year. So I was in a room full of other spouses who were about 1 year out. So all the officers that were killed that prior year. So
so you mean separate? They put people in there with you that it's the same amount of time that you've been grieving.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
That's smart.
And even felonious and accidental. So, because if your husband or your spouse was killed by shooting, is a lot different than a car accident. You know, you've got someone who intentionally killed your officer,
right?
Versus someone who accidentally. Now you can argue that because I mean, drinking and driving is a felony.
It's a choice.
Yeah,
and they made that choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's not like someone is like, I'm going to go out and kill a cop tonight. So in my head, it is accidental. He didn't set out to do that. He made choices to do that, definitely, and he got punished for it. But so just being in a room full of ladies, there was 3 of us that had suicidal thoughts. We had to stay after class.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the 3 of us we even had military background. All of them had military. So we bonded pretty tightly, and this one lady was from California, another lady was from, I don't remember, the lady from California, and I stayed closer than the other one. But so you feel like you're not alone in your thoughts and what you're going through, the media, the departments, everything, you know. To me, peer support is a lot better than one-on-one, is It's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay.
So, because you don't want to be alone, and your therapist, they haven't gone through everything that you've gone through. So
Right.
another spouse has.
Yeah.
So we kind of support each other, and there's mental health providers there as well that guide you through that and everything. But that's when I really. Then after that, then I went to a spouses retreat for cops in September and met other ladies all on different paths from 10 years, 20 years ago, 5 years ago, and I'm like, oh my gosh, why is that lady laughing over there? She should not be laughing. I don't like that, blah, blah. I was like, you know what? That gives me hope.
Yeah.
Someday
She's at a different stage in her process.
So it made me want to.
What year was this? So you said this was in year 2, year 3?
This was still in my first year.
Oh, this is all in your first year?
Yeah, so this was in 2007. So May of 2007 was police week, and then September 2007 was when I went to my first spouses retreat. So that was just bang, bang, bang. Everything was just happening. Still going through more of all that. And year 2 is when I took a break from everything. I didn't do anything. I didn't do any memorials. I didn't do any retreats. I didn't do any counseling. And then I realized how alone I felt. And so I was like, I want my ladies back.
Okay.
So I started going through things like that. And I put the girls in the camps, the cops camp, and got them with their peers as well.
Yeah. I know this is very rare, but were there any male spouses from females that had?
Yes.
Okay.
Throughout the years, there's been a few here and there. But yeah,
I was just curious. I know that it doesn't happen nearly as often.
They don't seem to stay as involved either. There's one that I know of out of, I think, on the East Coast, I think Maryland maybe. He's always there.
Okay. All right. I'm just curious, my own personal curiosity. So, all right. So you take that year off. Obviously it put you in a funk.
Mm-hmm.
Was the suicidal ideations and all that stuff still there?
No.
After that, it was once you recognized it and got help, that all went away.
Yes.
And I'm sure the medication helped a little bit. And I try to tell people, like, being on medication is okay if you need help. Like, I don't like the stigma people put on medication. Like, it's there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like, use it to help. I don't know enough to talk on it as far as like, don't depend on it. Like, I'm not saying don't depend on it. If you need it, get the help. Use it. Don't let the stigma keep you away from it.
I think a lot of people think that, once you get on it, you have to always be on it, but you don't. I was on it for 2 years. That's it.
Okay.
So I was able to get off of it.
And were you like on a game plan? Like, this is the goal. We want to work you through your process with therapy and your group therapy stuff, peer training, peer support, and eventually wean you off type thing. Okay. All right. So I'm trying to, me as an officer, like I'm just trying to think for my wife, like if she has to go through that, like what would I want her to know, to help through the process.
I think the biggest thing is just let her know she's not alone.
Yeah.
And there are people to reach out to personally, and in a group setting like the cops organization, that she will get through it. And I use my girls. They were my reason to live. And
yeah. So what was COPS? Explain COPS to those that don't.
It's an organization that stands for Concerns of Police Survivors, and so it's a group of survivors, and it's every single relationship of that officer. So it consists of spouses, children, adult children, siblings, parents, significant others, and coworkers.
Okay.
So it's just a group of survivors helping each other.
All right, and they do stuff for the kids, and they do retreats and stuff like that, right?
Yes, there's a retreat for every relationship to the officer.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. Yeah, because I think isn't COPS they were a part of the TMOPR, the Memorial Ride. I can never remember the acronym. TPOMR. Yeah.
I don't know. They're not a part of it. We donate to them.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
The ride donates to COPS, to all of the Texas chapters. There's 4 chapters in Texas, so we donate to all of them.
Okay, because I remember they would always be there when we would talk and have our.
Yeah, and because we coincide that with the state memorial, So they're there for the state memorial as well.
Okay.
They go in the day before, and then so.
All right. So, okay. So year 3 or 4 is when you finally start coming off the medications.
Mm-hmm.
And where are you at now in your life then? Or 4 years down the road?
3 or 4. I mean, I started dating. Looking back, probably too early.
Yeah.
It was within the first year, and nothing could stick. Nothing would work. Either the men were too immature to handle what I had been through.
Yeah.
They couldn't live with the ghost of someone. So they, my first 2 relationships were heavily like that. Even the second one even told me, Karen, you're the problem because I'm the second guy telling you the same thing. And so you need to get over this. You need to take these pictures down. You need to do this. And I'm not the first one to tell you this. So it kind of sank with me a little bit. And I was like, God, I guess there is something wrong with me. I probably should try to move on or whatever. And then about a week later, I was like, nope, not happening. Bye. See you later.
Really?
Yeah. So I was like,
okay.
No, I'm not doing this. You just don't understand. You don't understand me, and we're just not right for each other.
Yeah.
And so it was a while. So it was hard because people watch you all the time. They're like, why are you dating? Who are you dating? One was an officer, one wasn't an officer. They were both very different people.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I would date an officer, why are you dating an officer? Why is that officer dating you? Don't they know who you are? I'm like, well, I'm not off limits.
Yeah.
But so when I dated that first officer, that's kind of how it went down. So after I broke up with him, I was like, okay, I'll go find a regular guy, and,
yeah.
So and that would end up the same way. So
okay. So you tried to date.
I tried to date, and
within a year, and it just didn't work out. So then you just take a break from it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did, and I became pretty spontaneous, I guess. I drank a lot.
Hell yeah.
Not really proud of it, but I did. I drank a lot, and I didn't care who knew. I didn't care where I was. Of course, I cared where my kids were when I was doing it. They didn't see it, whatever. So but I gave up. I gave up on dating, and I didn't care who thought what about me. I was just gonna be like, whatever y'all think of me. You're gonna think what you want to think of me. If I'm with this guy, or without a guy, you're all gonna judge me. So I'm just gonna whatever. I don't care. So I went through about a year or 2 of that.
That's got to be hard though. I mean, because you're right. You are now the widow of a hero, and you're always gonna be that. And that's the way. I couldn't imagine being in that type of you're trapped. You're trapped in a way.
And people only see you as that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot over the years doing this because I got to hear people talk and I'd never been around that. And then I started realizing, I was the problem for a while. I was the guy that was like, well, that's Dwayne's person. That's and that, I'm not saying I thought that of you, but just giving an example, that's off limits forever. You're no longer allowed to date. You're no longer you have to play this, poor you widow role. And I don't know how it is for you if you felt trapped in a bubble like that, but I can see, you're right. If you start dating, doesn't matter when. Now people are always going to compare whoever you're dating to Dwayne. Well, he's not as good as Dwayne. You should get away from that. And then vice versa. People are going to be like, well, you shouldn't be dating, period. Why are you dating?
Yeah.
It's too soon, even if it's 5, 6, 7, 12 years later.
Yeah.
You need to forever play that role. So I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's hard, and but I mean, whenever Dwayne was alive, I asked him one time. I was like, "What do you want me to do when you die?" And of course, I was thinking, old age,
right? Yeah.
And he's like, "I don't care. I'll be dead."
Yeah.
I said, well, I don't want you to get married right after I die. I want you to make sure that your new woman loves my girls and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. He's like, I don't care. I'll be dead. I'm like, oh my gosh. So.
Yeah. My wife and I have that same conversation. I'm like, you can throw me in a plastic bag in the backyard and bury me. I don't care. I'm gonna be gone. I'm like, you know, I believe in heaven and all that, and so I'm be partying. You know, when you get here, you get here. You know, I was like, but if you, I want you to be happy. You know, I want her to be happy. So if you can find a guy that's as awesome as I am, you know, and it's like, you know, he can try, but just remember when you get up here, you come back to me. You're mine. Yes. So I was like, he's gonna have to find somebody new. It's just the way it works. I got dibs. So, all right. Well, you get heavily involved with cops and the memorial ride and all that. So when you finally start dating again, how long was that afterwards?
I mean, I tried it here and there. I just didn't have anything that was set in stone.
Okay.
So I was open to it. I didn't give up. I was open to it until about 6 years in, and then I gave up. I was like, you know what, I'm done. No, I can't find anyone that's even comparable to him, or which you shouldn't do anyway. But I
was gonna say, were you doing that? Did you catch yourself like?
I still do.
Do you?
Don't tell Steve.
He doesn't have the attention span for this show, so we're an hour and 6 minutes in. He ain't listening this far, so he'll be all right.
So I did a little bit of comparing.
But it's human. How do you avoid that?
Yeah.
You know,
and that's kind of how I kind of stuck to dating officers, because I dated more officers after that.
Yeah.
I wanted what I had. I didn't want that taken from me. So I was looking for that, you know, and then the law enforcement community is so close. You know, it's like, I like that. I want to be a part of that family forever.
Yeah.
Married or not, you know, I thought maybe if I married into it, it'd be easier.
Yeah. So
I kind of stuck with cops, and that's, people don't understand that. And they're like, why did you marry another one? I'm like, it's just what I had. It's what I had. It's what I knew. It's what I want.
Right.
So
I mean, because you work in a cubicle, and you marry somebody that does the same stuff. If that person, something tragic happens, passes away, you're gonna get a lunch in your face, you know, in the memory, and they're gonna bring you by some potato salad here and there, and then that's it. You know, but you're right. In a first responder lifestyle, whether it's, you know, a nurse or military or fire department, I mean, it's a community. Everybody comes together because we all understand that our jobs are dangerous. And that's included for nurses and frontline people too. Because you got COVID, you got exposures that they can get, all sorts of different things. It's important, and I try to harp on that more than I do just police, because I think some of the other jobs are overlooked, and I think they deserve the same credit. So I try to go above and beyond when I do the show, and I'm like, you know, nurses are in there, teachers are in there. You know, if a teacher passes, I mean, that affects a whole community. So I like those guys getting on here, and eventually, I've just got so many police opportunities to get on the show. I haven't branched out a whole lot yet. I've had some prosecutors. I told you about that, and had a mayor, had Betsy Price on here, so I've had stuff like that. We'll go down that rabbit hole real quick. How was the city support? Did the mayor and all them?
Yeah.
Did the state? Were they like the governors or any of that? I'm just curious.
I got things from the governor's office. I got a resolution. I have the Star of Texas Award, things like that. So I didn't see them in person.
Okay.
They just kind of, you know, send you stuff.
I gotcha. All right.
Got a flag that flew over the Capitol. Got a bunch of things like that.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Did any of that at any time like alienate you? Because I get these thoughts in my head every once in a while. I'm like, you didn't want to know me until I did something special, or you didn't want to know me until something tragic happened, or any of that. Did you ever get those thoughts?
No, my thoughts are more along the lines of, another plaque, another piece of paper. What am I going to do with this? Oh my gosh, another one. And I questioned how sincere it was.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. Like, I'm just like,
yeah. So I did feel that a lot.
Okay.
So
I just went in my, and it's a bad thought. Like,
yeah,
they're trying to do something nice, whether it's insincere or not. It doesn't matter. It's just they did something.
Yeah.
So, because then if they didn't do anything, then I'm going to be like, why didn't you say something?
Yeah.
So, all right. So you get. We'll go back down the path we were going. You start dating. You start dating law enforcement officers again, and you finally find it. Did any get serious until the one you married?
No, just those first two were really the only two that I had that were serious. Everything else, maybe lasted a couple of weeks or something, or whatever. Either they moved too fast, or I was just, or they weren't interested in me. So they just wanted, wanted one thing kind of thing.
I gotcha.
So I was
Okay.
like, okay, well, you're there and I'm here, and
Earmuffs, Jordan. Yeah. Earmuffs.
Yeah. So, so I once again just kind of let it go, and we went to Police Week in 2013, and met up with some local officer friends that are friends of mine, and they were riding in a ride called LEU, Law Enforcement United, and that's when I met Steve. Was through that, and we hung out in DC and kind of met that way, and continued talking. He was in that ride, so he supported fallen officers, and so I knew he was a little different,
Yeah.
So.
This was a bicycle ride, or?
Yeah, bicycle ride.
Bicycle ride.
Yes.
Okay. I try to tell people, I'm like, it's not a motorcycle. We're
That's
talking
true.
bicycles.
Yes, bicycle ride.
I'm like, because we ride 150 miles for ours, and that one you're talking about,
250, I think.
Yeah, that was a longer ride.
Mm-hmm.
And then they even have the one that's like all the way across like half the nation.
Yeah.
I can't remember what that one, but they had an officer that get killed in that, I think in 2018, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, he got hit on his bike. But anyway, okay. So you meet your future husband, Steve. So how does that work for him? Because just like you said, he's going to have to deal. You and I kind of talked about this offline. He's going to have to deal with Dwayne's memory is always going to be there.
Yes.
A little bit more so than anybody else that's been widowed. You know what I mean? In the civilian side of things.
Yeah.
Because every year that the anniversary comes up, there's going to be cops calling the house. There's going to be people trying to do stuff for you, probably for the rest of your life.
Yeah. So just I guess through dating him throughout the first week or whatever, I found out a lot about him. He was very willing to help any surviving spouse. He wanted to start a group of do any of these families need help around their house? Do they need a fence put up? Do they need a light bulb changed? What do they need to do? We need to help all these people.
Right.
Parents, siblings, spouses, whatever they mean. He wanted to do that. So I saw that side of him. I was like, wow, he wants to help. And, that's more than what I've seen in some other guys. So that was nice. I found out also when he was in high school, he had lost his girlfriend, and he didn't have a support system. He got through it through himself. So he knows what it's like to lose someone and to forever have them with him. Yeah. So, he still carries a lot of memories of her that I know of, that little anniversary dates and things like that we still celebrate for her. I don't know her. He doesn't know Dwayne. So yeah. So I knew that he got it. He knows that person's going to be with you always. Makes
me sad. I'm like tearing up thinking about that. That's the sweetest thing I've heard in a long time. So
yeah. And then another connection that we had was in 2008. He was rear-ended by a drunk driver on the highway as well. And he was in a Crown Vic as well.
Really?
And his car did not explode. His car did not explode because he had a fire suppression system in their cars.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He told me that Farmers Branch, he works for Farmers Branch, and he told me that they put their fire suppression system in their cars after Dwayne's accident. Oh my God. Yeah. That was kind of... That's eerie. So yeah, and she hit the lady that hit him at a higher rate of speed as well. I don't remember the actual speed of his accident, but so yeah, and that helped me also tell me what Dwayne may have went through. Yeah. He doesn't remember anything from the accident. He has to listen to audio tapes of his radio and things he doesn't even remember saying. So
he was conscious at least and was able to call out.
He was unconscious. I guess he had just mic'd up and the crash happened, so the dispatch heard the crash. Oh. And he didn't answer. So they all sent officers there. Okay. But eventually when he did, he started crying for help, and it was just kind of like, help me. So he was still not there, and he doesn't remember doing any of that. Okay. So that helps me believe that Dwayne did not suffer. Yeah. That's all I hope for. Yeah, and I'm there seems to be a bigger force at work. Yeah. When you think about all that, because what are the odds that you find a guy and all this stuff's happened? Yeah.
You know, like it could be coincidence, but that's too many factors to me.
Yeah.
You know, Dwayne's accident helped save his life. He gets hit the same exact way. He's a helper. All that. I mean, he works for, you know, a subpar police department, but you know, not everybody can get where I'm at. Just kidding, Steve. Love you, buddy. So he gets hit. Was there any significant injury? I didn't know that about Steve. So
he had some back injuries, and I think he had some memory loss. But other than that, there was no other injuries. I mean, Dwayne didn't have any other injuries either.
Really?
Yeah. His cause of death was, they called it conflagration, which is breathing in superheated air. So he survived the hit. He didn't survive the fire.
Okay.
So yeah. So Steve didn't have any injuries.
Oh, dang.
Not major ones.
Okay.
He might disagree with his back.
Yeah. He's a big dude though. He's tall. Isn't he like 6'4" or something like that?
No,
6 foot?
6 foot.
6 foot. Yeah. He's a big dude. I remember standing next to him. He can't ride that well. He could get better.
He could.
Yeah. So, okay. So you get with this guy. Yeah. Fate seems to bring you together. I'm sure it helped with the healing process. So you guys kind of leaned on each other because you have similar, tragedies in your life. And so it gets serious. And what happens? Like, how does that transpire into marriage talk and all that? How hard was that for you?
It was actually easier than I thought because, yeah, I mean, because some of the guys I was dating, they would tell me they love me. I love you, Karen. I love you, Karen. It's like 2 weeks in. I'm like, dude, you don't even know who I am.
I mean, you're cool, but you ain't that cool. You're not 2 weeks cool.
Right. And so, even one, I was like, if you tell me you love me before 2 months, it's over.
Yeah.
On the 2-month day, he's like, Karen, I know you told me to tell you that I love you, but I love you. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm done. Just bye.
Dang.
And with Steve, I knew within 2 weeks.
Really?
2 weeks. Yeah. I was just like, oh, that's what it feels like.
Okay.
So I was like, I was holding back saying it because I didn't want to be that person that someone was to me. So I was holding back. And then, I don't even remember how it took place, but
he's the guy. He should say it.
Yeah.
He should say it first. That's what I say.
I think it'd be wait for him to say it. So
yeah,
it was
okay.
It was different. You just know it's different.
Now for your kids. Okay. That's what I was wondering. Because we're going to have spouses on here, same situation. They're going to have kids. Like, what can they expect? What was that like?
Probably should have handled it a little better.
Oh, okay.
So, I feel Jenna really supported it. She really, really did support it. She wanted a dad, and it was very welcome. Jordan, not so much. Through counseling, I found out that what I had done with her was through the past 6 years leading up to that was I involved her as my partner. She was, what do you want to do for dinner tonight? What do you, I've moved several times. I moved 2 times at that time when I met Steve. I had already moved twice, and I had put her input. I had let her have input in the houses that we bought, or that I bought.
Yeah.
And so to have someone step into those roles and just make Jordan step back is kind of what the counselor told me. What I've done, you've pushed her out of her role, and that's what she feels that he is doing. Oh. She completely did not accept it at all. I had a trip planned that summer. I met him in May, and I had a trip planned in June or even July. And I was like, "Okay, do you want to go with us?" And he said, "Yeah, I'll go with you." But Jordan didn't want to have. She was not having that. Okay. That whole trip was awful. She threw food at me. She threw food at him. She walked off. And
how old was she?
She was 10th grade.
Okay.
10th grade.
Okay. So close to getting her license and all that. So
yeah, that was hard. Very, very hard. I mean, we got to a point where we got in an argument once where she ran to the kitchen to get a knife, and that scared the crap out of me. And I had to slam the drawer shut and pull her away from the kitchen onto the couch. She grabbed one of my candles, threw it in the glass candle, threw it in the ground, and her hair all in her face. She like, "Don't, Jordan, I hope you're not listening to this."
With her red hair.
Yes, hair all in her face, crying at me and screaming at me how much she hated me. And when I called Dwayne's parents and I said, I need you to take Jordan for me for a day or two.
Wow.
So, and it was really weird. After that moment, things calmed down a lot. And
Yeah.
Steve actually had a talk with her about his place in our lives, and that helped her a lot too.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it eventually got easier. And one day she turned to me, she goes, "Oh my gosh, Mom, I love our new little family." And I was like, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
You were not this, 6 months ago. But
Right.
so it eventually became okay. But in the beginning was very, 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 very rough. And I probably should have recognized that a little sooner, but I didn't.
Okay.
So.
Well, I mean, that's what's good for people to hear is that it got figured out, but learn from the mistakes, you know?
Yeah.
If you find yourself in the position where, spouse is gone and now you're the only parent and if you put your child in that role, you got to be aware of the position you just put them in. Now you're expecting them to step out just because a new guy just popped into that. That is.
And I did spoil them. I spoiled them any way I could because I did not want to see them sad.
Yeah.
So whatever they wanted, they got.
I gotcha.
So yeah, I didn't, there was times I did say no, but there's I want a new phone. Everybody has a new phone. Yeah, that's regular teenage stuff, but not me. I was like, oh, baby, you don't need to cry. You're going to get a new phone. Okay, here's your phone. Jenna got a phone in kindergarten.
Dang.
I know. What was I thinking?
I know. What were you thinking?
I don't know, but you can't take it away after you give it to them. Good Lord.
My kids are 9 and 12, my daughters, and they have a phone, but it doesn't work as a phone. Like they can play apps and stuff like that, and we monitor and control all of their stuff from our phones, which is very comforting to me. Because
I would say, don't give your kids a phone. If they don't have one, do not give them one.
Yeah.
Ever. Let them get out when they're 18.
Yeah. So, all right. So you guys, you had the child issues, but how many years did you have to go through that before you finally kind of figured it out?
What, with Steve?
Well, with just, the rebellious and.
Oh,
how long did that take?
She was rebellious, I guess, a little bit. Just normal teenage stuff, sneaking out, things like that.
Yeah.
But that was probably a 2-year phase. But by the time we were married, we had moved in. So I met him in 13. We got engaged in 14 and got married in 2015. And so by that time, she was different.
I think that's the year I met you, or was it 16?
It may have been 15.
I can't remember the first year we did the ride. But it was whatever, because I think that was the first year of the memorial ride that we did it.
It may have been 15.
Yeah.
Because I met him in 13.
I know you were married.
Yeah. Okay. So and in 2014, we both did the LEU ride. I did support. I did not ride. I did support. And we met Megan. Her dad was a Gainesville officer that was killed.
Okay.
And so that's when he started the ride. He started the ride because of her. She wanted a state ride.
Okay.
So that probably 15.
All right. And then so that's how we meet.
Yeah.
Now this is the cool part of the story, how we met. We did this whole thing chronologically, so I like that. I'm on the bike unit. And my guys on my team were like, let's do something. Let's go do a ride. Let's go. So we started off, we did the multiple sclerosis ride, where you're actually a cop in the ride, and your job is just, if you see anybody in distress or anything, you help them along the ride. So we did that, and it was just a couple of us. And then somebody told us about this memorial ride. I think Marcus Mendoza tells us about the ride. So we start kind of looking into it, and nobody's really taking the lead on let's get it going. So I'm like, all right, I'll do it. So I step up and I get us signed up and coordinate a little bit. And I remember seeing the name Freeto on the list, shortly before we're supposed to leave. We had no idea, but we knew we were going to ride for an officer. So I picked Dwayne because it was the newest story that I knew of from the department. So I'm like, I'm going to ride for Dwayne. So I pick him, and, I'm talking to some other officers that I knew Dwayne and stuff. Halford, Brent was one of them, and talked to him. But no mention of you guys going to be there. I didn't know. know you guys are going to be there. So we get to the ride, and I'm like, I'm ride for Dwayne Freeto, and I see the list, and I see rider Jordan Freeto, and I'm like, fucking way. Like, is Jordan his wife? Is Jordan? I didn't know who Jordan was, so I wasn't sure. And we're literally at the ride and figuring it all out. And I think we called because somebody.
You know what? You met Jordan that year for the first time. I was not at that ride.
That's right. You weren't there.
I forgot what I was doing. I was doing something, but I couldn't make it.
Yeah, that's right. You didn't show up. And I met Steve, I met Jordan, and we learned that Jordan was going to ride. So we're looking around. We're like, there's no that like to ride in there, you know. I might edit that part out. What are we at? 125. Okay. But yeah, we realized there was no other people from the department there. And I'm like, she's going to be riding by herself for 150 minutes. She's tiny. Like, so I start asking her, you ever rode? A little. How far? 9 miles. And I'm like, on what? She's like, mountain bike or something like that at the time. I was like, holy shit. I was like, all right. She's like, I just want to get through it. I just want to get through it for my dad. I was like, bet we'll get that done. So we get to riding, and she was, I mean, she's finally an adult woman now, but at the time, how old was she?
Oh man, I guess she was
16, 17,
maybe 17. But she had done cross country,
yeah,
all through high school. So I knew she could do it because she's as fit as anyone.
Yeah, she got the cardio, but this different muscle group. It's like, you know, it's like running your whole life and then jumping in the pool and realizing like that's a different cardio.
That's true.
So when we were there, I was like, oh my God, there's some big hills we know we're going to be doing. Like, all right, let's see. So we stuck with her. We're like, we made a pact. We're like, we're going to ride with you the whole time. We'll help you get through. We will make sure you finish this for your dad. And so we did. And we got that, I call it an iconic picture somebody took of us while we were riding, because Joey Spraggins, he's been on the show. He was my best friend from the department. And we went to the academy together and all that. Well, he used to be like a real pro rider. So he taught me how to ride. And he comes up and he helps her a little bit, just puts his hand on her back, and that was it. And I seen him do that, and I was like, man, does that really work? So he did it to me a little bit later. I was like, does that help? And so he holds my back. I'm like, oh my God, it doesn't even feel like I'm pedaling anymore. Like, It was great. So then we get to another hill, and Jordan was struggling a little bit, and I'm like, I'll go help her this time. So I go up there, and we're going. Well, I'm not as good a rider as Joey. So Joey sees me. I was like, get over here. And he's like, you want me to help her? I was like, just do it to me so I don't have to move. And he's like, all right. So he did it. And then we're going, like, oh my God, this really, and Marcus is the last guy that we had. And I was like, Marcus, you do it too. I was like, I want to see how much it helps. And so here we are, we're all riding arms around each other. And somebody caught a picture of it at the time, and it just was an awesome moment.
Yeah. Love that picture.
Yeah. But it really helped. And we did it several times on the really big hills because your girl was struggling. She was having a rough go. And she just, I said, you want me to help? She was like, yeah. So helped her out. She had one stretch where she cramped up a little bit. So we got her rehydrated. But other than that, she was a trooper, you know, so we got her through. But that was awesome. Yeah, and then that awesome. Solidified the ride for me because I was like, this is amazing. And the outreach and everybody supporting each other. And, you know, you ride into the police memorial there at the Capitol at the end, and just seeing how much it helped the surviving family members. You know, it was easier for you and I and your family and stuff to meet and talk just because there's already a common connection there. But seeing some of our guys that rode for officers of family members that have long been passed, and they found out that somebody was riding for their fallen son or daughter or husband, whatever it was, and seeing their reactions coming up, you know, like the support, like you said, that's a family you want to be involved with. So if anybody out there, I talk about this a lot. I talk about the thin blue line, and I said I understand there's a stigma behind the thin blue line. People think that that's a us versus them mentality, and I try to explain. I was like, it's not. For officers that do this job, this is an example of the thin blue line. We support. It's a family to support each other during these types of moments, not necessarily has nothing to do with trying to keep
someone out of trouble,
community at bay or anything like that.
Yeah.
This right now, I'm bringing you guys that aren't in law enforcement into the thin blue line lifestyle. Like, this is what it is. It's support. It's being there for these tough times. It's being there during times you celebrate and all that stuff. So it's this. I hope this helps make the stigma go away about the thin blue line, because it's not what people are trying to put on it. And when you come from a city that supports its police, like, you see it even more.
Yeah.
So. Because good cops hate bad cops, and that's just the way it is.
Everybody hates bad cops.
Yeah, exactly, and it just makes good cops look even worse. Yeah. So we trust us. We try to get rid of the bad cops. But okay, so that's how we met, and then we continued to keep coming back. I kind of skipped over that, but yeah. So we do the ride with y'all, 150 miles or however far it was, and it was over the course of 2 days. It's not the fastest ride, and that's the point.
Yeah.
The riders are meant to suffer a little bit, because most riders, when they do a 150-mile race, let's call it, it's a few hours.
Okay.
But in a few hours, you're out of that saddle. Now, if you do 150 miles over the course of 2 days, your butt is in the saddle for hours. I'm talking whether you're riding 4 to 6, 7 all day long. You're riding, and you've only made it halfway, and then you got to go do it again the next day. So it's a lot of hours in the saddle, and it's intentional. It's not a race. The point is to suffer a little bit, because no matter what you're suffering during the ride, the surviving family members and those that passed away, they suffered a lot more. So you're trying to eat that a little bit. Yeah. So that's the point of it. So you had to slow me down the first time. Let's go faster. I just want to ride. And then you learn the camaraderie and everything about it. And you hear from surviving family members, and it really makes it ring home and stuff like that, and having people like you talk and whatnot. And your attitude towards it now, because you're like a veteran.
Seasoned.
You're seasoned, yeah. So, and having you on here, even, it's like people are going to see you as like, that's where I can get to if this ever happens.
That's why I got involved in cops too. I wanted people, other survivors, to know you can get through this, and you will get through this, and you will live again.
Yeah. Okay. So you get married. You guys really basically take over this ride. Steve's the one that started it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So when you ride in the thing, you get the fallen officer that you ride for, their end of watch, and you wear this during the ride and keep it as a reminder the whole time that's why you're there, and that's who you're riding for. And then at the end of the ride, you give a little, I don't want to call it a speech, but you
announce.
You announce who you rode for, their end of watch, and the families that are there at the memorial in Austin, Texas, to hear and see the names on the walls and all that stuff for the fallen police officer. So it's a cool moment. It's a really good ceremony. They have the bagpipes, the whole 9 yards. So it's really cool. But yeah, her husband, Steve, he got that all started up, and he's a big sweetheart.
Yeah.
He says, yeah. All right. So after that, you guys get the ride going. You're married now. How's the support system still going now that you got a new husband? Like, are people still calling you? Have people giving you shit for getting married? Is that a thing?
We didn't get anything for getting married, and I don't like asking for things. So I wasn't going to ask for anything for our marriage or anything like that. So
No, I don't mean that. I mean, like, are people still like on the anniversary of Dwayne's death? Are they?
No, not so much.
No, not.
But I mean, there's I got a handful that are always there. You have you get the text messages and you get, and I get them throughout the year. It's not just the anniversary. So it does dwindle off a lot.
Yeah.
And then you give when you had the passing of another officer, like you're at Hull,
right?
The focus is on that officer and that family, which is fine. I mean, I'm not here to say that I'm I'm jealous or anything like that. I don't mean to give that impression at all. But it gives me a chance to step back and see what all they're doing to support her and make sure that they're doing it right.
Oh, yeah.
So make sure that they're supporting her just as much as they did with me. So
yeah, I gotta get that mic figured out. It's got a cutoff if you don't talk loud enough, and it'll. That's all that is. But yeah, I got Garrett's whiskey bottle, commemorative whiskey bottle. I keep that. Once it gets empty, I just refill it with another bottle. So, and yeah, I got Dwayne's end to watch stuff here that I keep. I've got Garrett's funeral thing. I think it's important for officers to understand and know, and to. I got his they made a coin for his unit. So,
I like that.
Yeah, I think the support side of it should never end. I like the fact that you even thought to reach out or to make sure they were treating her the same and getting all that same stuff done. So if you're out there and your department doesn't have steps like these, like she said, reach out to another department, see that they're doing that same stuff. So, because I can tell you, there can never be enough support.
Yeah.
I don't think you can ever give enough. I mean, yeah, you can give too much food. That's a big one.
Yeah, the first week, people were dropping food off for me, and I was like, will you please stay and eat with me?
Yeah.
Because I already have a freezer full of food, and you're giving me more.
Yeah. Joey, just slightly after we had graduated the academy, his brother-in-law, he's a Green Beret, was killed in action.
Oh.
And just like you said, the family support, we all got together as a PD and brought the family food and all that stuff, and it was the same thing. I remember that distinctly, like, holy cow, dude, you got a lot of food. He's like, yeah, I'm bringing some to work. Like, there's nothing I can do with this food.
But you appreciate it.
Yeah,
but
right.
There's a lot.
Yeah, and you don't want to be like, well, we got enough food, just you guys eat. You can't do that either. So you take it, and then you're like, hey, come over here and eat this food with me. So, okay. Is there anything that sticks out that you're like, I wish this wouldn't have happened. I wish people hadn't done this. I don't want to dwell on the negative, but I want to learn from a negative. You know what I mean? Was there anything that you can think of?
I can't think of anything that's mind blowing or anything like that.
Okay.
I think there was one officer during the notification that told me that he was killed instantly, and he wasn't. You find that out in trial. I mean, they're going to get the ME report. They're going to dissect everything of that nature.
Okay.
So that kind of, I know, good intentions.
Yeah.
But it's not what happened. So
don't try to sugarcoat or cover things up.
Yes.
Okay.
And then also I remember I wanted to see him, and they told me no. And I found out through the cops organization, you should never do that.
Okay.
And they told me ways that they could, how better they could have handled that. And if the spouse wants to see their loved one, either before or after, even today, but it's been years or whatever. Because I went back and I said, I talked to Brent. I said, I want to see Dwayne. I want to see the pictures. I want to see it. And so they told me how to have him do that with me. So what he does, what they do, or someone else does, is you get the pictures, or if it's in person, you say that person goes in first and says, this is what you're going to see. So you get a visual in your head before you see it. Right. And so he would go through pictures and he would tell me, this is what you're going to see. Do you want to see that? And I would say yes or no.
Okay.
And so then, more than likely what he was describing to me was worse in my head than what I saw. So it helped seeing it. And I don't want to say it's closure. Sometimes I feel like there never is any closure, or there's not a magic moment of closure. Maybe I have it now, and then tomorrow I won't, So, yeah. So it helps. I mean, you're gonna what you think in your head. I mean, because when they told me he was killed in a fire, I didn't know what to think.
Yeah.
I mean, is he standing outside his car? Is he physically suffering? Until I know the exact story, I don't know what to think. Yeah. Mine's gonna go everywhere. So you definitely need to be told the truth.
Okay.
So,
all right. So that brings me to the next transition of the shithead that made this all go down. So he gets arrested. He survived the accident, mm-hmm. and he gets convicted. How long was he convicted for?
13 and a half years.
13 and a half years. Are you satisfied with that?
Yes, I am today.
You are today?
Today, yes.
Okay. You had to deal with the trial. How did that process go for you? How long after the incident was that? Because I know the trial doesn't happen overnight.
It was a year and a half later. Happened. It ended on his birthday almost, if not a day or two around his birthday.
Okay.
So that was kind of, I didn't like that, but it's what it is. The trial was, I wasn't prepared for some things, and some things I was prepared for. I mean, they don't prepare you, like, this is what you're going to say, and this is how you're going to say it. It's not like that, but
right.
You have expectations of what you think is going to happen. And I did not expect to see the autopsy, and no one told me it was going to happen.
Oh.
And so that was like, I see a picture on the screen over here, and I'm just like, am I supposed to look at that? What am I doing? And so I, in hindsight, I wish that they would have told me that that's what I was going to see, so I could prepare myself for it. But,
yeah.
But
so that's another thing that people should learn from.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe they were trying to invoke emotion, but
yeah.
If you know me, I don't show my emotions hardly ever.
Yeah.
And so it didn't. I just sat there.
Okay.
So that was hard for me because I hadn't seen the pictures yet of the accident.
Oh, geez.
So that was
the.
Yeah, it was the first one I saw.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So you sat. Did you sit through the whole trial?
Yes.
How long did that take?
It was at least a week.
Okay.
Maybe 2. And another thing that I do, I guess, is I use laughter as a nervous tick, I guess. So there's times when I would smile or make jokes or whatever, and the media would pick up on that. And they had on the media at one point, it was Channel 5. I'm going to throw them under the bus.
Okay.
They had said, well, it seems like the defendant is more upset than the widow. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. They
really?
Just throw me under the bus like that. But, it caught me in a moment when I was trying to make a joke about something else. Who knows what it was.
Yeah.
I don't remember it then. But yeah, that was hard. Yeah.
That's a big thing in law enforcement in general. You'll see us out at a gruesome scene or whatever it is, and or you might catch some officers joking around. It's a way to deal with the stress. You try to keep it in check to be professional, but that's just how some of us cope. And
but it was hard. I mean, even knowing that he had a child during the waiting period.
Oh,
going to trial, so to get sympathy from the jury.
Okay.
So that made me mad. I was angry at him for that. Knowing he's going to go to jail, he had a baby. You're choosing for your child to not have you in his life.
Yeah.
So that made me mad. Come to find out it was 13 and a half years. He didn't have a dad for 13 and a half years.
Yeah. So there were points he gets convicted. What was his initial conviction?
Intoxication manslaughter.
And how long did they give him for that?
Was it punishment?
Yeah.
13 and a half years.
So he did his entire time.
Yes.
And there had to be times where he came up for probation then.
Yes.
And did you go to those hearings?
I did not go to them, no, but I got notified when they were, and I could send a letter, or I could, and I sent a letter, and I talked to the lead parole person.
Okay, so you let him know everything that you went through and all that stuff. And what type of things would you say, if you don't mind?
I said, please do not let him out on parole. Parole. I was like, it just like if you were punishing a child, you don't let them out of their punishment early just because they're good behavior. He needs to serve every minute that he got.
Yeah.
So I was like, my girls don't get to see their dad ever again. So he's gonna get his life back, and he can wait his 13 and a half years.
I gotcha.
So things like that.
Okay. That obviously worked.
Yeah.
Because he did all his time.
He did. The last year that he came up for parole is when I did not fight it. I told them, and the lady on the phone was so funny. She said, because I told her, I was like, I don't want to hold him back anymore if whatever, but, I feel like, he didn't do it on purpose. And kind of go back to that. I kind of come to the conclusion, he's going to get out someday. Yeah. I've got to come to peace with this. So if it's this year, if it's next year, or, he does his time, whatever, it's fine. And she goes, ma'am, you're not giving me permission to let him out. I just want you to know that. And I was like, okay. Okay. I thought you were going to take my word for it. And she's like, no. There's still a hearing.
Okay.
You're not giving me permission to let him out. And I was like, okay, well, I just want you to know I'm not going to fight on any decision that you guys make.
Okay.
So that made me feel like I was telling her what to do, but I wasn't.
I gotcha. All right. So with that, did he ever try to reach out to you?
No, he never did. He did not fight the appeal process, and that made me feel good that he was going in the right direction.
Okay.
And then I met with him after I had a year before he got out. I met him.
Really?
And took Dwayne's mom with me.
Oh my God, how did that go?
It was okay. Yeah, Dwayne's family is a lot more forgiving than I am. His mom even forgave him at the trial, and so she was there more for support for me because she had already forgiven him and I hadn't. So I felt like I needed to go tell him that I forgave him. He told me a lot of what happened the night before that didn't come out in trial, and so that was, I don't know, I won't say nice to hear, but it was understanding.
Okay.
His actions of what he did, why he did. He doesn't remember the accident, but he remembers what he did before the accident. You know, so that was, and he took full responsibility for everything he did. So
that's good.
Yep.
Man, I can't imagine. There's a part of me that would want to tear him apart. There's a part of me that much time's gone by. How long can I hold on to this? Because I have had one person in my life that I don't want to say I hated, but close. And when I finally let that go, for me, I realized like, oh my God, I've just been punishing myself. Like the person's not in my life anymore. It doesn't matter anyway. But I held on to that anger.
Yeah. I mean, you think that as long as you're mad, it's justified.
Right.
But it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do any good for you. And it doesn't matter how mad I am. He's either going to get out or he's not going to get out. And eventually he will be out. It doesn't matter how mad I am.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing anybody any good.
Man, I can't. I just...
It's
I can't imagine walking through that door, like the anticipation. Like, how do you trust yourself? Like, you know what I mean? Was that a feeling you had? How do I trust myself? Am I gonna?
Because I don't. Like I said, my emotions are always in check. I don't have a lot of outbursts or anything.
I don't either, but that's not a common. Nobody can say they've done that. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of people that can say they've done that. So
I think I was just in that place. I was just, you're not going to hurt me anymore.
Okay.
So I'm over you.
Girl. Like it. That's cool. Right. So you went and talked to him. So he's out now?
He's out now. Yeah. He got out this summer.
Oh, okay.
June 30th was the last day. I think he got out in May, but June 30th was his last, or July 30th was his last parole. He's not being watched or anything. He doesn't have to go to parole or anything. He's time served.
Time served. Okay. Yep. Okay, so you've moved on from that.
Yes.
That I don't want to call it hate, but moved on from the holding on to that
anger.
Yeah. So you're in a good spot.
Yep.
That's good. For Steve, just curious on his angle coming in. I know I don't necessarily want you to speak for him, but because I'd love to get Steve on here just to talk about this at least. But what was the process like for him being because like I said, we kind of talked about this offline a little bit. Like that dude stepped into the biggest shoes you can step into and took it like a champ. I mean, because he's basically living with, I don't want to call it a ghost, but you said those words. So he's living with the ghost of a hero, no matter what he does. So how did he do that so well?
Well, I think the passing of his girlfriend, he realizes that it's never going to go away.
Yeah.
For me, it's not going to go away. It's not going to go away for him. And you're not there. You're not in competition with anybody. So, and of course, with him being in law enforcement, he respects how he died.
Yeah.
And the life that he lived, and so he kind of parallels himself with it. I guess not. I won't say he compares himself, but I guess he would want someone to do the same for him.
Yeah. And I agree with that. Yeah. I mean, if I go and my wife did happen to marry another officer, it's like, man, it just have some Star Wars stuff around. But other than that, I don't want them to feel like they don't have to be me.
Yeah.
They don't have to be me.
Yeah, Steve is definitely not not Dwayne.
Yeah, you guys are. I've been following y'all on Facebook and seeing your your adventures of cleaning up however many acres y'all have. You guys have to have some sort of big property.
Yeah, well, we actually recently moved. I don't know if you've seen that.
I didn't.
Yes,
I haven't seen that part.
We did. We lived out in Oak Point, and we had 5 acres, and
Okay.
heavily wooded. So the housing market is just awesome right now. So we sold it.
Okay.
So got a good amount for that. So we moved out to Decatur.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, 5 acres.
Nice. So that's exactly what I want. I want 5 acres, barnuminium, because I want a pond on there. I want to be able to. I want to have some deer. Maybe I know hogs will come up either ways, but I want to be able to hunt a little bit on my own property, fish on my own property, and have a pole barn that I can get away from everybody. So that's what I want. That's my dream. But how far is? I'm not super familiar with how far Decatur is. Let's say from Fort Worth.
I'm not sure from Fort Worth. It took me an hour to get here.
It took you an hour to get to my house?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Why didn't you tell me?
Because it's an hour everywhere. It takes me an hour to get to work. I still work in Krugerville, so it takes me an hour to get there.
Oh my God. Jeez. Should have brought Steve with you.
Yeah, he's got his son this weekend, so.
Okay.
Gotcha. Y'all go to the skate park. I don't want to go to the skate park.
Yeah. Okay. So you were like, I'm going to go be on this really awesome show. It's up and coming.
You go be father-son stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, is there any other things that you can think of that you want to share about the whole process? Something that spouses, maybe other officers? I mean, we kind of covered a lot.
There's one other thing that I went through that I think is, I don't know how normal it is, but Dwayne's parents they're both preachers,
right?
And so they're very, very close to God.
Yeah.
I did not grow up that way. I was that way with them. I appreciated being in that family and learned to be more Christian.
Uh-huh.
But when he died, I was no longer a believer.
Oh.
For a long time.
Yeah.
I thought if a son of 2 preachers can't be saved by their prayers every single night, then there is no God.
Oh.
And so I went through that for probably 3 years.
Yeah.
And it was lonely. I was more angrier than I ever was until I realized that I can't live that life.
Yeah.
This is no one's fault. This is no one's fault. God did not do this. God didn't do this, and it's personal accountability.
Yeah.
No one set out to do this except for him. So I dealt with that for a while. I had another officer tell me, in reference to God and Jesus, God did not save Jesus when he was on the cross. He begged him. And God didn't even save his own son. Not that saying that he didn't want to save Dwayne. It's just not his role. Yeah. So that made me, and that along with the fact that he said that maybe in Dwayne's death, that was his role in life. His death was, that was his purpose in life. He was going to reach more people in his death than he would have if he had lived. Save Steve. Yeah. So. Yep. So I hold on to that. I hold on to the people's lives that he's affected his short time on earth, and hold on to that. That was his purpose. He fulfilled his purpose. Yeah. Whatever it was, he had fulfilled it. And it's still helping. I'm a firm believer that you coming on here and talking about your experience is going to help people. I hope so. When I had Bruce Anderson on here, his video has already gotten 1,200 views, which, in the grand scheme of things, that's not huge, but that's a lot of people. But I've been reached by Washington, D.C., officers in Washington, the state, down to New Mexico, Canada, France, that have watched his episode and said that they share parts of it in their roll call, or that's helped them, or stuff like that. Because like I said, it became a very real and raw interview that neither one of us expected. His shooting happened years ago. 6+ years, and he's a sergeant now, and he was an officer when it happened. So you've got that time frame, and he thought he was past it, emotionally anyway. And he got on here and broke down, he started reliving it again. And so it was a real look at the PTSD part of it. So his episode has helped a lot of people. So with the amount of people that have reached out wanting this type of perspective, I think that you coming on here and talking about it's going to help a lot of people. So I appreciate it. I'm glad you came out here. No problem.
Anytime. All right. I'm going to play the outro music. I appreciate you being here. It's been awesome.
Thanks.